We're going to go to 17's Katie Roosh now. She's on scene. She joins us with the latest. Katie?
And what you're seeing now is the smoke behind me. This is the fire that they are trying to contain. The fire was coming over the hill very quickly around 3 to 4 today when the fire blew up from 6 acres to 800 acres here in the Wofford Heights area. Now they're trying to contain that. You can see a lot of white smoke. There's not as many flames over the hill, but if you can take a look at some of this video, you can see one of the structures that has burned. We had a photographer, Chuck Dennis, out there who saw for himself 3 structures burned, potentially one other, but this was all in the Bristol Cone Drive area. That is one of the neighborhoods that has been evacuated here in the Wofford Heights area. There were 3 structures that we have seen burn there. We've been told by many others that there are other structures that have burned in the area, but we have nothing confirmed at this point.
17's Katie Roosh on scene from the start tonight, and she joins us live from Wofford Heights now with the latest. Katie?
Yes, Jim, it went from 8 to 800 acres in a matter of an hour, and officials say that's where it really got chaotic for residents here. They were rushing down the hills trying to get their belongings out of the neighborhoods.
The fire was basically at her back door.
Seeing this home go up in flames, Brenda Vega can only think of her daughter.
Pretty scared for my daughter and her husband and their home that they just bought.
A home she believes is one of at least 3 that burned down this afternoon on Bristol Cone Drive in Wofford Heights.
We got the dogs out, a couple of bags of clothes, and left. So now we're just sitting and waiting to hear if their house is still here or gone.
Along with hundreds of their neighbors.
But it's just disaster up there. Propane tanks going off, and people just running, panicking.
Men left shirtless, hauling their belongings, trying to save their prized possessions. While air tankers flew overhead, trying to stop the fire from coming over the ridge, licking at homes within the city limits.
When it started here, it jumped a good half mile to a mile, and it just kept jumping. That's how fast it was going.
Residents said the fire overtook the valley in minutes.
When it started, they said 5 acres, 3 to 5 acres. Within 5 minutes after that, they said 200 acres.
It augured into this drainage and started burning in brush and amongst structures.
And as the street lights came on, the fire raged on, leaving Brenda Vega and her daughter to wonder what remains of their home.
But I always say things are material. They can be replaced.
And officials say that the fire is 0% contained tonight, and they're recommending that any residents in the upper Wofford Heights area as well as the Kernville area be prepared to evacuate at any time because this fire is far from over. I'm live in Wofford Heights. Katie Roosh, 17 News.
And 17's Katie Roosh is joining us from Wofford Heights with the latest on the damage and activity this morning. Katie?
Maddie, we are waiting for the latest estimates on the damage out here. We're supposed to get a report around 7 a.m., but if you can look at the smoke behind me, it's a very different scene from yesterday. The smoke has really died down overnight at this fire here in Wofford Heights. A smoldering air conditioner is all that's left of this home on Mar Vista Drive after a fire swept in and burned at least 3 structures in Wofford Heights.
We're experiencing high temperatures, low humidities. We're in historic drought conditions. That can lead to intense and extreme fire behavior. We had the fire make some serious runs.
None more serious than Monday afternoon when the fire grew from 8 acres to 800 acres within an hour.
When it started going towards Bristol Cone, it was like a big old mushroom cloud because it was just house gone up with the propane tank.
It started here, and 15 minutes it was spread everywhere.
Leaving 30 minutes for Brenda Vega and her daughter to get out of their house as the flames licked the backyard.
And it was swirling and whirling and making a sound, and we got the dogs out, a couple of bags of clothes, and left.
And as the sun set, the fire grew, but not into more neighborhoods.
Concentrated all our forces in and around the structures in the area, trying to keep it out of the populated areas and drive it more into the forest.
But it's still one of the worst fires Kern County has seen this summer. and this early morning could only make it worse.
When the sun comes up and as it begins to heat the mountains and the fuel, it may make some runs. We're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to try to keep it in check.
And we will be watching that fire today as the sun starts to heat up the mountains around here. They're expecting the fire to grow at least a little bit. Again, it's 0% contained at this point, and they are urging residents in the upper Wofford Heights area as well as the Kernville area to be on standby for potentially more evacuations as this fire is not yet over. We're live in Wofford Heights. Katie Roosh, 17 News.
Here are the stats as of the latest update from the fire crews this morning. The fire has burned 3,190 acres so far, and it is 0% contained. Our reporter Katie Roosh got a first-hand look at the damage this morning, and she says at least 5 buildings have been destroyed. It's still unclear if all of those are homes or cabins or if any are outbuildings. And Katie is live from the fire this afternoon now with a closer look at that damage. Katie?
Maddie, first we want to show you a look at this smoke. Earlier today, this fire really seemed to die down, but if you can take a look behind me, it seems to be ramping up in the Wofford Heights area. A big plume of smoke. It was big dark smoke before. We're not sure if any structures were threatened. What we do know is down Mar Vista Drive and Bristol Cone Drive, those homes, we saw them completely leveled by the fire that came through yesterday. A washer and dryer, a bed frame, and smoldering rubble. Remnants of a structure that yesterday stood tall here on Mar Vista Drive.
We never like to have any structures destroyed by fire. We do our best to make sure that we can save as many as we can. Unfortunately, sometimes we can't do enough.
From our survey, at least 5 structures in the area burned as the wave fire engulfed Wofford Heights yesterday afternoon. For many others, luck was on their side as the flames came within feet of their homes, avoiding total devastation.
We did have some good saves and some close losses.
Crews say they were pleased the fire's size leveled off overnight.
That's good news. It slowed down significantly when you figure it took, 3,000 acres in the first 9 to 10 hours.
But Kern County Fire says getting through this afternoon will be the challenge, as flames still burn on 3 fronts to the northeast and west. And the fire is starting to come over the ridge, threatening Kernville with the same fate as these homes on Mar Vista Drive.
But at this point, we're planning for the worst and hoping for the best.
And at this point, the fire is 0% contained, and they are asking residents, the Kern County Fire Department is asking residents in the upper Wofford Heights area as well as the Kernville area to be on standby for potential evacuations because this fire is far from over. We're live in Wofford Heights. Katie Roosh, 17 News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us here for 17 News at 6. I'm Rochelle Murcia.
And I'm Jim Scott, and we continue watching the Way fire here at 6 o'clock. The U.S. Forest Service revealing late this afternoon that all road closures in that area and all evacuations have been lifted. The Way fire started Monday afternoon and is still going strong up near Lake Isabella between Wofford Heights and Kernville. The latest numbers show the Way fire is now 15% contained. It has burned more than 3,300 acres. 8 homes have been destroyed, 10 outbuildings damaged. 17's Eric Richards joining us live from Wofford Heights with the latest there. Eric, what can you tell us tonight?
Well, Jim, what I can say, it's quite the contrast compared to Monday. I mean, residents say Monday evening, Monday afternoon, this area exactly was covered in flames. Now take a look right here. This is just one of the homes, one of 8 homes that was completely destroyed as the Way fire ripped through this quiet neighborhood. Now Jeff Sweet and his wife have lived here for the last 7 years. He says one of the most heartbreaking items destroyed in the fire was an antique piano that has been in the family since the 1920s. Today, while sifting through the rubble, he also found a special coffee mug that says, "I love Dad." It was given to him by his daughter growing up, one of the only heirlooms he was able to recover.
Unfortunately, we never considered the fact that this house was where it is, and there was a lot of shrubbery, and the wind was blowing in this direction. I don't know how much, but it blowing in every direction. That was the biggest problem, I think. It's very hard, and we'll get over this eventually, but right now it's not easy.
Now, Sweet says while they were evacuating, within seconds, the fire jumped a hill and was already in his backyard. He said at that point he knew his home would be destroyed. Now, back out here live, looking around this area, you can see this home next to me, that home over there, totally destroyed. There was actually family members earlier kind of sifting through the rubble like Jeff Sweet, looking for any heirlooms that they could possibly still save and take with them. And fire officials also told me this afternoon they hope to gain a lot of containment, more than the 15% they already have contained. I'm live in Wofford Heights tonight. Eric Richards, 17 News. 3 days after the Wave fire swept through Wofford Heights, residents are sifting through rubble.
Is this your little shovel here, Brad?
Yeah. For Jeff Sweet, he lost everything in a matter of minutes.
Worst couple days in my life. Just don't know what to say. It's so surreal.
Sweet and his wife lived here for 7 years, a home where many memories were shared.
To remember and think about everything that's in there and all that rubble, all that got burned and destroyed. It's extremely down. It's a real downer.
A tricycle, bed frame, and air conditioner, all items now sticking out of the smoldering rubble. But under that debris, a special coffee mug stood out.
It was presented to me by my daughter, who is now 41 years old. She was just a little girl when she gave this to me.
Sweet says he and his wife left just in time as fast-moving flames approached their home on Mar Vista Drive.
We were packing the cars up over there. I came out with one load and I looked over my shoulder and the flames were right there. It must have moved 100 feet in 30 seconds.
Down the street, Carolyn Hafner returned to her home last night, thankful it was still standing.
We just took it hour by hour.
But for her neighbors, picking up the pieces is now the reality, along with the Sweets.
It's very hard, and we'll get over this eventually, but right now it's not easy.
In Wofford Heights, Eric Richards, 17 News.
Well, the house is over there. That's the house, yeah, because it's got the V.